Have you ever heard that it's never a good idea to make fun of the devil? Some of us have very superstitious parents. And this is something my dad always said as I grew up, and I never understood where it came from. Hi, I'm Nefer Kefri. You are watching True Tales of the Paranormal, and I am your hostess with the ghostess. Here I am sharing true paranormal experiences of my own and those of my family and friends. Stay tuned and listen to a true paranormal experience that belongs to my paternal great-grandfather. Growing up, my dad always said, you never make fun of the devil. Now, I was raised Catholic, not that that really makes much of a difference, but just to understand, the mindset of where my family was coming from. And my dad used to always say this, and I used to always kind of wonder, why would anyone even think to make fun of the devil, I mean, it's not really a topic of everyday conversation, and it's not really the type of thing you think right away, oh yeah, let's make a joke about it. But my dad used to say this, and then when I was about 13 or 14 years old, I finally said to him one day, Dad, how come you often say you never make fun of the devil? And he was like, I never told you what happened to my grandfather, have I? And I'm like, no, what happened to your grandfather? Now, this experience was recounted to my dad when he was about 14 years old. And it was told to him by his father and his grandfather, his paternal grandfather, so his father's father. So what happened was, first of all, a little bit of backstory about my dad's family. My dad grew up in a small mountain town in Michoacán, Mexico. And my grandfather, his father, owned a chain of grocery stores there, and they were pretty well off. I mean, my grandfather had a different nanny for each one of his kids. He had 9 kids. And my dad was basically not raised by his mother. He was raised by his nanny. So, they came from an affluent family, very well-to-do. Well, prior to that, they had been poor farmers. And that's the life that my great-grandfather led. And so one day, my great-grandfather and his 3 best friends decided to go up into the mountains on like a camping trip or a hunting trip. I don't really remember which one. It was one or the other. It may have been a hunting trip. But anyhow, they go up into the mountains and they have, supplies for a couple of days. They're going to spend the night. And so they make their camp. And it's just seems like a regular night. And my great-grandfather did tell my dad that it was a full moon. So, it was fairly well lit. It was a clear sky because, back then there were no lights, and they had torches. They didn't have flashlights. So they're up there camping. They've got the fire going and they're, cooking their meat or whatever it is they're going to have for dinner. And they get out the alcohol, of course, and they all start drinking. My great-grandfather was what today would be obviously known as an alcoholic. He was just always drinking. And so he's up there drinking with his friends. And then eventually they start bragging about, what they can do and, I don't take crap from anybody. And another guy says, not even the devil. And then the first guy's like, no, of course not. I'm not afraid of the devil. And he starts mocking the devil. He starts making fun of the devil. Now, this was a friend of my great-grandfather's who was talking all this trash about the devil. And my great-grandfather started telling him, hey, man, you don't talk that way. You should not talk that way. There are powers in the universe that we don't understand. And I think it's a really bad idea to be talking in this manner. But the other 2 friends started laughing at my great-grandfather and said, oh, you're just being silly, superstitious, it's nothing. Nothing will ever happen. And they all just start laughing and they all continue talking trash. So my grandfather kind of backs away a little bit from the fire. At this point, he had stopped drinking because his fear had kind of sobered him up a little bit, you know? And so he's watching and listening to his friends talk all this trash, and he keeps interjecting every once in a while. Hey guys, I think this is a bad idea. Let's change the topic. And no. Well, then, according to my great-grandfather, at some point, a donkey appears. And it just comes, walking through the brush up to them. And they're like, what's this donkey doing here? Now, it was rare, but wild donkeys were known because, they break away from their corral or whatever, and they live out in the wild, And they figured that was, the situation. This had formerly been a domesticated donkey, had gotten away, and was now, fending for itself. And so one of the guys thought it would be funny to get on top of the donkey. Now, donkeys are small. They're like probably, I don't know, a third smaller than a horse, I would guess. Feel free to Google it. But they are definitely a lot smaller than a horse. Well, one guy jumps on the donkey's back. And then he says to his friend, come on, there's room, get on. So the second guy gets on the donkey's back. And my grandfather's there watching this, right? And he starts yelling at them, get off that donkey now. And they're all laughing at him. And the third man climbs on the donkey's back. And according to my great-grandfather, that donkey had grown longer and longer to accommodate each of the men. So you got 3 men on the donkey's back, and my great-grandfather is now screaming at them, get off the donkey, this is not a normal donkey. Then he said the donkey's eyes glowed bright red, and it turned around, and it trotted off, and it walked right into the side of a hill. Right into the physical hill. There was not a cave there. There wasn't a crevice. There was no type of opening. This donkey went right into that hill with those 3 men on its back. And my grandfather grabbed 2 torches and hiked all the way back to his home in the middle of the night, which, up in the mountains, it's kind of a dangerous thing to do, even on the night of a full moon. And he got hurt doing that. He still managed to make it back home and told my great-grandmother what had happened. My great-grandmother happened to be a curandera. A curandera is a Mexican white witch. This is a person who works with herbs, does healings on people, the laying on of hands. She could read cards. She read playing cards. She could see people's auras, the color around their bodies. And based upon the colors she would see when these people came to her sick, she would be able to tell them which herbs they should take and how much to deal with the illness. She was very well known, and people used to walk for days to consult with her. So my great-grandfather comes home to her and starts telling her this. And she's like, this is what I saw. This is what I saw in the cards. I saw great disaster. I saw great calamity coming to our house, but that no one here would be hurt. And I didn't understand how that could happen if no one here was going to be hurt. Well, my paternal grandfather sends my grandfather to the authorities. Now remember, it's still the middle of the night. It's now probably about, 4 o'clock in the morning or so. And he tells his son, get on your horse, go into town and get the sheriff, or whoever was in charge. And so my grandfather takes off on the horse, goes into town, tells the sheriff something awful has happened. There's 3 men who could be in serious trouble. You need to come out to our farm now. And so the authorities, they come out. They sent out the sheriff and like 2 deputies. And they sat my great-grandfather down. They said, okay, what happened? And he prefaces it by saying, you will not believe me, but I swear on the Bible, I swear in God's name, this is the truth. And they said, I don't know if you just heard that. That was my cat howling, but little atmospheric effect. And so, the sheriff says to him, just tell us what happened. What happened? Where are these men? Or did they get hurt? And my great-grandfather started telling them the exact same thing he had told my grandfather when he got back. And the men just kind of looked at him and were like, and how much did you have to drink last night? Because everybody knew in town he was a drunk. He was always drinking. And he was like, we were all drinking, all four of us, but I swear to you, when this donkey appeared, I was so overtaken with fear, it just immediately sobered me up. And I swear to God, what I am describing to you is exactly what I saw, is exactly what happened. And you all need to go up there. I will show the way, and we can try to find my friends. And they're like, okay, we'll do that. Meanwhile, the sheriff is thinking that there had been maybe some sort of an accident. He didn't know, but it was something for which my paternal grandfather was responsible. He had concocted this wild story so he wouldn't get arrested, for a triple murder or something. And they go up there, and my grandfather even showed him, look, here's the fire. And the fire was smoldering. It had gone out, at some point after the incident, but it was still smoldering. You could see where the fire was. And my dog and cat are going crazy. All their camping gear's there, the food is there, the alcohol's there. The three men, there's no sign of the three men. And so they're like, well, let's start looking for him. Meanwhile, the sheriff is thinking, something's happened, they got hurt, they got killed, and this guy's just concocted this story. So they're keeping a close eye on my great-grandfather so he doesn't make a run for it. And they start looking around, and my great-grandfather says, I can show you exactly where the donkey went. And then the men are like, okay, show us. And then they look down, and they can see hoof prints. And my grandfather says, see, I'm not lying. There are the donkey's prints right here. And they're looking at them, and they can see when the prints come up to the camp, right? And they can see when the prints leave the camp. That's my dog's toy. So they can see the hoof prints in the dirt. And they can see the hoof prints coming up to the camp. And they can see the hoof prints leading away from the camp. That's my dog's toy again. Sorry about that. And the prints that lead up to the camp just look like normal donkey prints or, hoof prints, whatever. When they're walking away from the camp, the prints are much deeper in the ground. And that's because, according to my great-grandfather, that donkey was carrying the weight of 3 grown men on its back. So you can see coming into the camp, the hoofs are only so deep into the dirt. Leaving the camp, the hoofs are much deeper into the dirt. So they follow the hoof prints, and sure enough, they go up to this hill, and they go right up to the hill, and they disappear. There's no further evidence of where the donkey had gone. There's no evidence around there for the men. They didn't find any clothing. They didn't find any items. There were no footprints. It had not rained, and the ground was dry and dusty. My great-grandfather said the prints would have shown up easily had the men walked away. All that were there were the hoof prints that went right into the hill, just as my great-grandfather had claimed. It went as a missing persons case. It was never solved. My great-grandfather, was never held responsible for it because the authorities could see the difference in the hoof prints coming up to the camp and then leading away. They knew that this animal had carried a lot of weight on its back walking to the camp, and plus the hoof prints went right to the side of the hill and stopped. And that is why you should never make fun of the devil, according to my dad. This has been another true tale of the paranormal coming to you from my great paternal grandfather. I hope that you have enjoyed it. If you liked it, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel and drop a comment below. The comments really help the YouTube algorithm to push my video out to other people. And we're now up to 71 subscribers, and I appreciate you all. Welcome to all the new subscribers. And here's 2 more stories, and hopefully I'll be on time next week. I've got a major neck issue going on, a lot of pain, and I'm seeing a chiropractor. Hopefully I'll be posting Wednesday at noon Central Standard Time. That's when I scheduled to post for next week. So stay tuned. Thank you all for watching. This is Nefer Kefri of True Tales of the Paranormal, your hostess with the ghostess, wishing you a wonderful day ahead. Hey guys, hey, I need you to hush, okay? Mama's recording the YouTube video. Y'all need to hush. That means you, Blue. That's my cat. She's the instigator. Calm down. It's okay. Yeah, I know, Magic. I know that kitty cat just gets you in trouble all the time, doesn't she? I know. She's terrible. She's just terrible. Blue. Behave. Blue. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, getting back to the story. Whoa, what the hell just happened? They're knocking stuff over now. Anyway, kids, getting back to the story. Okay, where was I? Okay. Magic, stop it. Be quiet. I know, you're going to have to put that away. Put it away.